I think you come to the Belgian to win it. Wabash always fight.
Good afternoon and welcome to the Don Morel Show, your chance to hear the thoughts and comments of the head football coach of the Little Giant program. And Coach, get a chance to sit down after a good win at Allegheny, a 48-35 victory by the Little Giants to begin the North Coast Athletic Conference season. Last week we talked about the NCAC portion of the season being a reset for your football team after the loss at Stevens Point. Now that you've come out of that game, was it really a chance to really kind of get things going and build some momentum coming into this week's game against Denison?
I think the second half was. Again, we struggled clearly on defense in the first half, but they did figure it out. I think Alex Victor is probably, if anybody wanted to research it, the all-time leading yardage receiver in 4 games against Wabash College. Happy to see that guy graduate. I'm going to send him a nice commencement card in 7 months and wish him well. I think he's going to walk into an NFL camp, and we'll see what happens from there. But the old quote, they are who they thought we were, or they were, and we really rallied in the second half and did a nice job.
Let's talk a little bit about that defense in the second half. I pointed out during the broadcast, your defense limited them to 13 offensive plays and 52 total yards after giving up 299 yards in the first half. So you really did not only figure out some ways to really take them out of what they wanted to do offensively, then you also got some great special teams. We'll see it on the highlights here in just a minute with Andrew Sanders getting a really good block punt at a key moment in the game that helped you set up another touchdown.
It did. The third quarter, the tide swung our way, and we were able to control the game from there.
Let's go ahead and take a look at the highlights from last weekend's win at Allegheny. Again, a 48-35 victory for the Little Giants, and it starts right here with this guy, Ike James. What a job he did. 37 carries, matches his career high in a game. He rushes for 226 yards and 2 scores. It's his 10th game of his career, of his very short career in all honesty, to go over 100 yards in a game. He just continues to be a solid workhorse for your offense.
And I think a real teller is just coming off such a tough knee injury. He's 100%. There's no doubt about it.
Another guy that we really have to talk about, we'll see right here, a beautiful pass from Liam Thompson all the way out to Nick Hammond, who ran a perfect post route, got behind the last defender, and takes it in 75 yards for a touchdown. Nick was the North Coast Athletic Conference Offensive Football Player of the Week, finished his day with 7 receptions for 192 yards. That's the 7th most receiving yards in a game for a Little Giant, and 2 touchdowns. We'll see another one here in just a minute, another good catch by Nick to set up a touchdown by Ike James, but then he caught a touchdown on the option play as well. How has his development as a receiver, particularly, you've talked about the loss of Oliver Page and Ryan Thomas, who Nick has played behind for a couple of years. How has he really stepped up and become a leader for this receiving corps this year?
Well, I think the best thing is just work. He has worked very, very hard to become a skilled, polished receiver, and he's waited 2 years to do it, and it's paying off now.
We talked about the game Ike James had, but what a job by that offensive line to really set the tone for him and for Mason Durrett, who had a touchdown for you late in the game on a 4-yard run as well on the ground. They've just done a tremendous job, not only pushing the offensive line in the run game, but also protecting Liam Thompson in his freshman season at quarterback.
It couldn't be obviously with Ike and Mason. They have done A-plus work, especially this week or past week with Allegheny, and happy to have both those guys 100% playing well.
Defensively, you were able to generate a little bit of pressure on the quarterback. You got 2 sacks last week. David Marsh and Malcolm Lang both got sacks on the quarterback. Nick Fox had a tremendous game for you. This is a young man, if you can speak a little more to this, he was slated to be a tight end or maybe an H-back, fullback position at the start of camp and then moved back to the defensive side of the football and just had a tremendous ball game, 9 total tackles. He forced a fumble. We weren't able to come up with it. Nas Greer, the Allegheny quarterback, recovered it, but really just played a tremendous game on Saturday.
He did, and couldn't be prouder of him. It's been tough kind of finding the perfect position for him. He's a consummate team guy. He's going to go to med school in the fall, next fall. I'm happy for Nick. Great kid who's done a super job for us.
You were able to really take control of the game, as you said, in the second half. How important was it to have that 14-0 run in the third quarter to not only play the way we talked about defensively, where you held them to 13 plays and 52 yards, but to also come back on offense and put a couple of touchdowns up? You were down 1 at halftime, 28-27, and then really kind of broke the game open there and then added a third touchdown in the fourth quarter to kind of put the game out of reach.
Well, I think if you saw the Washington State-UCLA game, you don't want to get into, he scored, we scored, he scored, we scored. So it was critical for us to score first in that second half and then get a stop, put another score on the board, get a stop, and just gain control of the thing. It certainly helps when you can hand the ball to Ike James and run the clock a little bit and control the flow of the contest.
Well, you were also able to generate some first downs on third and fourth down, which was a little bit of a problem in the Stevens Point game. How much improvement did you see from your football team between Stevens Point and Allegheny?
Giant. Well, and we talked about it last week. A big leap forward for Wabash football as we climb deeper into the 2019 season and eliminating mistakes we made the previous week. Just all phases of the game, I believe we improved.
Again, a 48-35 victory for Wabash over Allegheny. Now you take the next step in your North Coast Athletic Conference schedule, and that will be the homecoming game against Denison on Saturday. This is a very good Denison football team, well coached by Jack Hayden, and a team that handed you a loss last year in Granville and ended up sharing the North Coast Athletic Conference title with you. What do you see from them thus far, both on paper and on film, as you prepare for this game?
Just Denison, the last few years, has, to me, played the same type of football. Excellent defensively. They've got some dominant players in the defensive line, I believe. They play team defense. They've done really well in their first 2 games. Offensively, mobile quarterback who can really, I think, can cause fits with his feet. And then they have an excellent, like Wabash, they have a excellent running back in Alex Minton. He was the first team all-conference player last year. Big kid, 230 pounds, and tough to bring down. So we have a real challenge this Saturday.
Well, as you mentioned, Alex Minton, this will be a chance for Wabash fans to see 2 of the top running backs in the nation. Alex Minton leads Division III in scoring. He's averaging 21 points a ball game this year. He's also the leading receiver for Denison. And Ike James comes into the game as the leading rusher in terms of yards per game. And he's only about 80 yards off of the overall rushing lead in Division III, even though he's only played 2 games, and everyone else above him, he's currently ranked 6th in total rushing yards. Everyone above him has played 3 games already. This will be a tremendous day to just watch the running game for both teams. How do you try and shut down a player like Alex Minton?
I don't think you get to completely shut him down. If you do, you're going to leave a gaping hole somewhere else. But we just need to play Wabash defense steady, mistake-free, and I think that would put us in a position to win the football game.
I think it would be safe to say last year you came into the game at Denison. The team was in a little bit of a funk with the situation that was going on at the time. What is this team's mental attitude heading into this game, knowing this is a team that handed them a loss last season, getting ready for all the events of homecoming? How is the team heading into this game this weekend?
Had a great practice Tuesday. We go back out this afternoon. I'm hoping for another, a step up and good teams practice better every day in the week. It was a challenge for us a couple weeks ago. We did it last week, and I think clearly our kids are focused. We've got a lot of homecoming stuff going on. That adds to the distractions, but our guys were very focused yesterday.
Adding even more to Saturday's game, it's also the first home game of the season, which means that senior day. Got an outstanding group of young men that we'll have a chance to honor before the kickoff of the game. What has this senior class meant to you? I mean, this is your 4th year with the program as head coach, but you were involved in recruiting these young men as an assistant coach with the program, and now the chance to be their head coach for 4 years. What has that meant to you, and what have they meant to the program?
Well, these are kids that came to Wabash knowing Coach Rayburn had already left, and I had been named head coach, and we have been through everything together the last 4 years. They know the expectations from me and the program and what Wabash College expects, and I just think it is another fine group of Wabash men.
Kickoff on Saturday is, of course, at 2 o'clock because of the homecoming activities throughout the day. The day really gets going with the Alumni Chapel that morning at 11 o'clock, and there's a soccer match beginning at noon. Wabash will take on the College of Worcester over at Fisher Field, so we invite you to come out for that event at noon and then head on over to the football stadium for the game at 2 o'clock. Of course, the Glee Club concert is Saturday night as well. There are tickets still available for homecoming. You can go to wabashtickets.com and look at all the ticket information for not only admission to the football game, but for tailgating, parking, and a chance to go to Wally's in the end zone. There's the kids club, all sorts of activities for you to enjoy on homecoming when you come to see Wabash take on Denison. Coach, best of luck on Saturday. I know we both hope we're going to come home with a W, and then we can celebrate homecoming with everyone else right after.
Absolutely.
Homecoming on Saturday, 2 o'clock for football, noon for soccer. We hope to see you there. If you cannot make it, we will have the broadcast on the air. Adam Phipps and his outstanding crew will bring you the broadcast. It'll be on our new site. It will be on wabash.edu/live, but you can also join team1sports.com/Wabash, and there are links on the Wabash College website to go there. You can view Saturday's game. You can view both the soccer game and the football game, and you can go back and look at any games from earlier in the season for home contests at Wabash College as well. GMA Madon Steve Hoffman will have the call for you on Saturday beginning at 2 o'clock. We'll have the pregame show for you prior to that with this Don Morel show. Halftime, we'll show you all the festivities from Senior Day that will have taken place prior to kickoff. We'll run that during our halftime, while all the other activities will be happening down on the track during homecoming. Hope you'll join us, or hope you'll watch this weekend. Until then, this has been the Don Morel Show, your chance to hear the thoughts and comments of the head coach of the Little Giant program. We'll talk to you next week.
I think you come to the Belgian to win it. Wabash always fight.